Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network tonight as we draft and battle with the Roaring Thunder. We are live from AutoClub Speedway, bringing you the AutoClub 250 for round 2 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series. I'm your commentator, Sean Zulu. I am joined by my good friend and producer Dave Everly behind the cameras, and Dave will be with us shortly as he is working on some stuff there in the background, some producer stuff you wouldn't know about that. But we hope everybody's doing good tonight here at Auto Club Speedway for 125 laps tonight. Just a few stats here tonight about what we're dealing with. We have a 78 degree Fahrenheit track temperature, that is 78 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature with a matching air temp of 78 degrees Fahrenheit. And the drivers have a 75% fuel limit, that is 75%, which gives us at least 3 required pit stops in order for the drivers to be able to make it the full length of the race, 125 laps. And this track is 2 miles long, that is 2.00 miles in length. And the drivers have one backup car tonight, that is one backup car here all season long. So that will that's going to mean if they're involved in a wreck or an incident that's bad enough to end their night, they will have a brand new machine waiting for them for the rescue. And we have David Everly now back up here with us in the Dre Broadcasting booth. How are you doing tonight, Dave?
Doing great, Sean. Just took a look at our YouTube channel. We have passed another goal here this season for Dre Broadcasting Network. That's right, we have surpassed the 450 subscriber mark.
Oh man, we would like to thank every single one of you out there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for making that a reality. That was Dave's dream, and you finally made it a reality. Thank you very much. We can never thank you guys enough. And for all those new viewers out there in the chat, welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. For the existing and returning viewers, welcome back to the Dre Broadcasting Network. We are glad to have you all, new or old. And if you are there in the chat, please type it up, say hello, say something, and we will respond at the same time. Also, let us know who you're rooting for tonight. We have a lot of amazing drivers tonight, and they are currently under qualifying. And tonight we have Jeff Dodson, Charles Smith, Jeremy Horn, Rick Mason, Mark Kochik, Ronald Vincent, Jim Whaley Jr., Mark McFadden, Paul Cohen, Stephen Leffler. We have Robert Barras, Art Peck, including Noah Lewis racing tonight. And looks like we have now advanced from the qualifying session into the gridding session. So we are going to give the drivers a few seconds before we go down this list. And in the chat there we have Justin Levine. Justin Levine in the chat. Long time no see, Justin. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Including Swamp Rat. Swamp Rat, good to see you there, Swamp. Welcome back to the Dre Broadcasting Network. Well, our post-sitter tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is last week's winner for round 1 here with the Roaring Thunder IndyCar Racing Series. That is 75 of Robert Barras. In second place is the 13 of Charles Smith, the 98 of Noah Lewis third, 37 of Ronald Vincent fourth, the 33 of Mark Kochik fifth, the 48 of Mark McFadden sixth, the 14, Jeremy Horn. Jeremy Horn, last season's champion, this season's defending champion, starting 7th. The 3, Jeff Dodson 8th. The 51 of Paul Cohen 9th. The 72 of Stephen Leffler 10th. And 18, Rick Mason 11th. Jim Whaley Jr. 12th. And we have Art Peck in the 14th place spot, actually 13th place position. And that will round up the whole entire field of drivers racing tonight. And Dave, last week we came from Sebring International to AutoClub Speedway. So things have changed. And looking in the chat there, Christopher Potter. This is Christopher Noah Lewis is crew chief. Oh, nice. Good to see there, Christopher Potter, the crew chief to the to Noah Lewis here in the 98. Thanks for tuning in. And also Rachel Randall. Hey, this is my first stream. Oh, welcome, Rachel. Welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. And Dave, going back to what I was talking about, this is a draft track and not a road course either. It's an oval track, so wide open, be at the right place at the right time, be in the draft, and slingshot engaged past your opponents. And this, once again, is the AutoClub 250 by the Roaring Thunder Racing League. And here, so far, we are being led still by Robert Barras, but the pace car does dip off this time by waiting for the green flag to fly. They do go on green. The green flag flies. The 98, Noah Lewis right behind 75 of Robert Barras. 13 of Charles Smith on the outside line so far, leading the outside with no help whatsoever. And we are trying to get the picture back up. We do apologize for the technical difficulties, but it will be back before too long. And here so far, the 48 of Mark McFadden there on the outside line. Here, oh gosh, he goes to the inside. Oh, 37 of Ronald Vincent, but up front, side by side for the race lead. 75 Robert Barras and the 98 of Noah Lewis.
Yeah, most definitely, Sean. You got to look at these drivers here. I mean, these cars are a lot faster than the stock cars that we're used to. These guys doing in excess of over 225 mile an hour around this track. Another key thing here with the Formula One cars, draft. Draft is very key here. So I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of lead changes for tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, Robert Barras unfortunately will not be able to lead all the laps as much as he would love to do so. And looking in the chat, Rachel Randall, I'm guessing you're asking how many races do we do? Well, how many face videos did you do? I'm guessing you're asking how many races we do, but we do broadcast about 5 nights a week, so you can catch us anytime. And here, going back to the race, the 14 of Jeremy Horn gets on the inside of 98 of Noah Lewis and overtakes him for second place. And now Horn's next victim is Robert Barras for the lead at the moment, and Robert Barras is trying his best to increase that gap, but the draft is working against him. Basically, Jeremy Horn is in his draft.
Yeah, most definitely, Sean, here, taking a look at these lap times. I mean, they're running 31, 32 second lap times, like low 31, 32. That's pretty quick here going around Auto Club.
Very, very quick. And Dave, with those lap times comes a lot of speed. With that said, these things are running an excess of about 230 to 235 miles per hour. That is wicked, wicked fast. Way quicker than the NASCARs that you're usually used to seeing us broadcast. But these machines do fly. At the same time, they are very, very fragile. Basically, with these machines, like we talked about last week, for those who might have not been there, with these machines, rubbing is not racing, rubbing is wrecking.
Yeah, they gotta watch. This is open wheel racing. If they make those bars holding them front tires, if you hit a wall too hard, it's gonna pretty much end your night, because those things are very soft, very fragile. Any type of hard contact is gonna take that toe out of whack, and you're gonna have a rough night.
Yep, it's an easy way to get that little meatball flag. When you get too much damage, you do get a meatball. And so far, the 48 of Mark McFadden trying to make some moves against Noah Lewis to his inside side. Oh man, they almost make contact. Holy cow. But nice save by both drivers. Still nice and clean. They are still side by side as we speak throughout this front straightaway. And their next victim is the 13 of Charles Smith. And this time by Mark McFadden let a slight nose cross the start finish line against the 98 of Noah Lewis, which does give him the 4th place. Oh man, Mark has smacks the apron. Oh, Noah Lewis gets into him. Big wreck on the exit of turn 2. Caution will fly this time by on lap number 7. Holy Crispies, that was very, very bad and very unfortunate for all drivers involved. But Dave, let's focus on the 48 of Mark McFadden and see what happened.
Well, as we are focusing on the 48 of Mark McFadden here on the Dre Broadcasting Replay side by side as they come through the turn here into the backstretch. Oh, just hard contact. We see cars lifted up in the air. Wow, that's highly unfortunate there, but some guys are going to be going down on pit road.
Absolutely, and man, yeah, the cause of that incident there was a little bit of a tap on the apron. He actually barely touched that white line. He didn't even touch the apron. He just touched the white line. And unfortunately, it was enough to upset that machine. And there was some bad netcode between him and the 98 of Noah Lewis, which did send Noah Lewis up into the wall. And at the same time, 48, Mark McFadden got hit as like a pinball effect. Got into the 33 of Mark Kochik. But going back up front here, we are still being led by 75 of Robert Barris. Jeremy Horn 2nd, Charles Smith 3rd, Ronald Vincent 4th, and Jeff Dotson in the 5th place spot. And Mark Kochik down pit road this time by for some service. Oh man, we have the majority of the field down pit road for some service. We have Charles Smith, Jeff Dotson, Stephen Leffler. We have Art Peck, Paul Cohen, Rick Mason, Mark McFadden, including Jim Whaley Jr. down pit road, and Noah Lewis as well, accompanying them. And Noah Lewis, I believe, is getting towed down to pit road. Yeah, I do believe so. Yeah, that machine has seen better days. The front end is all beat up. The back end as well is all beat up. And he will be rolling here before too long. But not to worry, once again, ladies and gentlemen, the drivers have one backup car. So with that said, Noah Lewis will be able to get a brand new one and get back out there and do some more damage in terms of competition against everybody else on the racetrack. But the top 3 drivers still deciding to stay out, having 9 laps on their tires and tanks this far, namely Robert Barris, Jeremy Horn, and Ronald Vincent. And we are already back 1 to green this time by... Yep, we are 1 to green this time by, still being led by Robert Barris. And I should admit, that was a quick caution, Dave. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe they have one less pace lap. But either way, that's way too quick.
Yeah, most definitely. But another difference here with the IndyCar, they do their restarts single file. As we are coming back to the green, pace car is off. Robert Burris leading us to the green flag once again here, followed by Jeremy Horn. Green flag is out. We are back green flag racing as these guys are cracking through the greers, going green flag racing here in Auto Club.
And Charles Smith already trying to make some moves against the 37 of Ronald Vincent. He goes to his outside line. Ronald, oh man, driving into the apron, the 14. No, that's at 75. Robert Barras, he topped the apron, went sideways off the track, was able to hang on to that machine, but will go from hero to zero really quickly, and is trying so far to get a grip as we speak.
I tell you, Sean, I've never been in these cars going around Auto Club, but I kind of want to because and these guys are doing over 220 mile an hour. That, to me, that sounds like a fun time.
Yep, sounds like a very fun time. I mean, it's a very fun time indeed. And I personally have ran this track and car combination, but it's been I think it's been over a year now, a year and a half, I believe, since I did that. But it was a very fun time. And I can tell you one thing, when you're running these things, you do not want to blink, because things do go from good to bad in a hurry and have some contact on the track. So it happened in turn number 3. That involved the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. on his lid, flipping in every single direction possible. Let's back it up on Jim Whaley Jr. and see what happened.
Well, we're going to pull up the Dre Broadcasting replay here, taking a look at the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. Let's rewind it here, see exactly what happened as he was riding here in... Oh, looks like maybe a little bit of contact out into the outside wall. Let's take a look here from the cockpit view as he's riding along here from the cockpit. Oh, looks like maybe a checkup in front of him, just kind of lost it maybe. But he is going to go on his lid and around, bringing out our second caution of the night.
Yeah, that apron is causing some serious problems already. And yeah, that incident was caused by some bad netcode there. When Jeff Dodson topped the apron, he slowed down to save it. He saved it, but then Jim Whaley Jr. was close to him, but not close enough to make contact. But unfortunately, the server registered that as contact, which did send Whaley into the wall, and Whaley was down pit road with his front wheels up into the air and somehow made it to his pit stall and got a brand new machine, and off pit road he goes, but going back up front first lead change the lap after, or the same lap. The green flag had flown for the second time. We now have Charles Smith leading, Jeff Dodson second, Art Peck third, Robert Barras fourth, including Jeremy Horn in that 5th place spot. And that so far is rounding up the top 5, but drivers on pit road here as we speak. We have Ronald Vincent, Mark McFadden, Stephen Leffler, Paul Cohen, Mark Kochik, including Rick Mason for some pit stops on pit road. And Jim Whaley has finally rolled off pit road, but going to Noah Lewis. Let us check on Noah Lewis. Noah Lewis being shown 2 laps down, so Noah will be trying his best to get the lucky dog, get back on the lead lap before this thing ends. And the good news for Noah Lewis, Dave, is that this race is still young.
Well, I'm not sure. Do they do a lucky dog here in IndyCar? Not exactly sure there, Sean.
You know, that's a very good point, yeah. Well, we will find out here before too long, but hopefully, for the sake of Noah Lewis, they do the lucky dog. And yeah, I did forget about the single file restarts. The single file restarts do shave off 1 lap of pacing, so that's why we went 1 lap less during the last caution we had, and it will be the exact same thing this time by, and we should actually be going green. I mean, we should be going back to 1 to green this time by, still being led by Charles Smith.
Most definitely, Sean. Another thing they got to point out, the pit stops on these things. We are used to about 13 to 14 second pit stops. These guys are doing their pit stops in 6 to 7 seconds.
Oh yeah, very quick. That is in and out. Less time on pit road, more time racing. And looking in the chat there, Christopher Potter, the spotter to the 98 of Noah Lewis, says no lucky dog here in the IndyCar series. So yep, Dave, thank you for the correction on that one. And it is a learning curve for me. And thank you again as well, Christopher Potter in the chat. And so far we are now going green, still being led by Charles Smith, exiting turn 2 this time by drivers getting bunched up nice and tight. And Art Peck has come a very long way tonight, Dave, from 14th place to 3rd.
Yeah, most definitely. So that's a good move there by Art Peck, moving up through. But as you said, we still got 112 laps remaining, so anything could happen.
Oh yeah, anything can happen. It's not over until it's over. And looking in the chat, Swamp Rat heading to the beer tent before the green flag drops. Absolutely, Swamp. Gotta do exactly what you have to do. Hopefully you have enough beer to last this race, because it will be a wild one and a bumpy ride. So hang on tight, buddy. Hang on tight. And that pace car does dip off Charles Smith, still holding pace speed, waiting for the green flag to fly. The green flag flies. Charles puts it down the floorboard. The 3 Jeff Dodson right behind him, being pounced on by 78 of Art Peck, who decides to back it down. 75 Robert Bears gets a very, very good start against the 78 of Art Peck and the 3 of Jeff Dodson to the inside, this time by Bears, going from 5th place to 3rd place here in 1 lap. Scratch that, to 2nd place this time by pulling on the 14. Actually, that's going to be the, I get these numbers right, it's a green machine. That's the 78 of Art Peck right behind the 75 of Robert Barris, and Robert Barris strong in the draft of the leader, 13 of Charles Smith.
Meanwhile, take a look there. There's the 98 of Noah Lewis currently running there. So he's doing a pretty good job. He's got uphill battle here, being 2 laps down. Jim Whaley currently 1 lap down, but Charles Smith is the man out front, as he's got Robert Burris and Jeff Dodson trying to catch him.
Yeah, it's going to make it very, very interesting for the drivers 1 or more laps down, since we do not have the lucky dog here in the IndyCar series. So it's going to mean having extra excellent pit stops, green flag pit stops, to separate themselves from everybody else down pit road. So fingers crossed for both Jim Whaley Jr. and Noah Lewis. And so far, Noah Lewis, actually Jim Whaley Jr. to the outside of, that's going to be the 18 of Rick Mason. Rick Mason in the 9th place spot. His next victim is 72 of Steven Leffler in 8th place.
I tell you, man, these guys are zipping around this track. Definitely got to give them credit. Keeping their nerves here at over almost 230 mile an hour on this great looking 2-mile track here at AutoClub.
It's a great track. It is quite bumpy. I mean, it has a few bumps here and there, but these machines, the Indy cars, have very, very good suspensions. So with that said, it's just going to be like going, just like riding a cloud. So these guys are definitely not even feeling it. I doubt it. And so far, Dave behind with Art Peck right behind the 98 of Noah Lewis. And Art Peck has lost a few spots. Last time we checked on Peck, he was in 3rd place, but now being shown in 7th. So maybe Peck is just backing it down, trying to ride, trying to stay alive, trying to stay away from trouble, trying to have enough time to react if anything would happen in front of him. That's a good strategy. But 3 wide coming up behind Art Peck. Nope, they back it down. Gonna go back double wide. 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. to the outside of Art Peck. No harm done, as Art Peck is in the lead lap, while Jim Whaley 1 lap down.
Well, lap 20, 106 laps to go. These guys, I'm not sure what the pit window on these machines are. Like I said, new to us, so we are definitely going to check it out and see what happens.
Yeah, from my calculations here, the pit window should be from laps number 38 through 42. But don't hold that against me just yet. Don't quote me on that. But that's going to be it. Lap 38 through 42. Just depends on how correct my math is. So we'll find out here before too long. And for the back in this pack, we have the 33 of Mark Kochik being shown about 4/10 of a second behind his next victim, 51 of Paul Cohen. That's enough to get some draft from Paul Cohen. So here before too long, Kochik should catch Cohen. At the same time, Cohen is drafting off the 78 of Art Peck, and the draft between Cohen and Peck is very, very strong because they are way closer to each other compared to the gap between Cohen and Mark Kochik. So it's looking way better for Cohen than it is for Kochik at this point. And going back a little bit up front, Dave, we have the 48 of Mark McFadden. Mark McFadden here is working with the 37 of Ronald Vincent. They're doing the leapfrog, and that will work out.
Yeah, especially the way these vehicles handle. Like I said, they're going to do a lot of leapfrogging here tonight. They got to use that draft to help pick up their speed, get in front, and then that's just going to bring the second vehicle right behind them. So I do know that much from running these cars.
Yeah, most definitely. And going a little bit up front here, we have the 3 of Jeff Dodson, who just lost the spot to the 13 of Charles Smith. And at the same time, 75 of Robert Barras poking his nose into the inside of the 3 of Jeff Dodson. Jeff Dodson goes way wide. He stays high. He will lose that second place position and stays in the third place spot for now. But the draft should suck him into the back bumper of Robert Barras before too long. And Jeremy Horn moves up to second place. Robert Barras to third place. And Jeff Dodson down to the fourth place spot. And Charles Smith so far is 1.9 seconds ahead of his opponent, or his victim. No, his opponent, the 14 of Jeremy Horn. So at this point, since Charles Smith is 1.9 seconds ahead of Jeremy Horn, he is way out of that draft range. With that said, Charles Smith is having a Sunday drive up there with no worries of the draft sucking his opponents in. One driver on pit road, Dave Robert Barras pitting in this time by, after running 25 laps on his tires and tank. So it makes me wonder what Robert Barras has in mind, because something tells me that is not a scheduled pit stop.
Yeah, most definitely. It could also be a pit strategy, just trying to play a little bit of the fuel mileage game.
Absolutely. I mean, if that is the case, we should expect to see a lot more drivers pitting in here before too long. But so far, the drivers who have run the most laps on their tires include Charles Smith and Jeff Dodson, having 18 laps, going on to 19 laps this time by. And Robert Barras exits pit road with a pit stop of about 7.2 seconds. That's 7.2 second pit stop, 4 tires, full tank of gas. It is now trying its best to make up all the lost time there on pit road. And 72 of Steven Leffler. Steven Leffler, new driver. I don't believe we've ever come in contact with Steven Leffler, but hopefully we get a chance to speak with him here before the race ends. But he is riding in the 9th place spot behind the 51 of Paul Cohen, about 1.1 seconds behind Paul Cohen. So he's getting a little bit of draft, but not too much. So if he's running down Paul Cohen, he won't run him down in too much of a hurry, but he will be gaining time lap after lap.
Yeah, most definitely. So it'll be interesting to see here. I tell you what, though, we have 10 cars on the lead lap, and technically there's only about 9 seconds splitting 1st and 10th. So still a pretty close race here, but look at the 13 of Charles Smith. He is out to a 1.8 second lead over Jeremy Horn. Jeff Dodson is about another 1.6 second behind Horn. McFadden sitting there just 0.6 behind him, and Ronald Vincent sitting there just 0.6 behind McFadden.
And here in the pack of 78 of Art Peck. Art Peck has a driver all over his rear end. 33 of Mark Kochik. Kochik goes to the outside to try and make a power move against the 78 of Art Peck. But Art Peck has the preferred race group through turns 1 and 2, but off turn 2, slingshot engaged on 33 of Mark Kochik. And they'll be side by side entering 3. But once again, Art Peck has a preferred race groove, and Kochik still maintains the 7th place spot, and the gap in between Kochik and Peck does increase, but the draft once again sucks him in ever closer to the back bumper of Peck, and Kochik goes wide again. And the thing about these machines is that when they suck up like that, they do end up pushing a little bit in the turns like that, because they're carrying way too much speed, and when you're going that fast, rotation is very, very difficult. But so far, Kochik still managing the best that he can, and Art Peck goes way wide. Kochik to the inside, going to make the pass successful against Art Peck for the 6th place spot, and Peck down to 7th. And since Kochik and Peck were battling, last I checked on these two drivers, they were about 6.5 seconds behind the race leader, Charles Smith. But now that lead has gone up to 7.2 seconds to 7.4 seconds. So with them battling, they did lose some time against the race leader. And here before too long, they have ended up, maybe they might start working together for a common good of catching up to those leaders. so they can be able to have something against the leaders before going down pit road for those green flag pit stops, and Paul Cohen being shown about 0.2 of a second behind the 78 of Art Peck. At the same time, Cohen has a motor roaring in his rear view. That's going to be the 72 of Steven Leffler. And Mark Kochik still going at it with the 78 of Art Peck side by side. Art Peck had a bad exit off turn 4, and that gives the benefits to the 33 of Mark Kochik, who then takes back the 6th place spot. And Kochik's next victim so far is very, very close, and that draft is working at its finest. The 98 of Noah Lewis still being shown 2 laps down, hoping for a caution or 2, maybe even 3 cautions, so he can be able to get his lap back here before too long. And now 2 drivers battling as we speak for position number 11, Jim Whaley Jr. and Robert Beres, because they are both 1 lap down.
Pulling up the Dre Broadcasting replay, the 78 of Art Peck here got spinning into the inside wall. There's we are focusing on. Looks like he tagged that apron, got loose, and was spinning, sliding. Didn't make no contact. But good for him, but he gets it back around, gets it going again.
Man, that was a save and a half. And Dave, I do thank you for catching that on replay. I was way focused on something else. I didn't even see that was happening. But yeah, thanks for catching it on the Dre Broadcasting replay. But here, Art Peck is now going down pit road, this time by having 26 laps on his tires and tank. And it will be accompanied by the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. And now I'm starting to believe that my pit estimation was way off, a little bit too high. So the pit window is in between laps number 20 through 30.
Well, we'll find out, because right now our race leader, the 13 of Charles Smith, 27 laps since his last pit. He is out to well over a 2-second lead over second place of Jeremy Horn. Jeremy Horn can see him. But man, I tell you, the Charles Smith is fast out there tonight.
Yeah, but looking at Charles Smith's strategy, he's just pretty much using up as much of the track as he can, because he can. And right now, I mean, he's trying to put less wheel input in it. Less wheel input means less friction caused by those front wheels and more speed maintained. And more speed maintained equals greater speed here throughout the whole entire straightaway, entering the turns, namely turns number 1 and turns number 3. So with that said, Charles Smith has that down, and it's pretty much just having a Sunday drive, but keeping up his pace, lap after lap, staying very, very consistent, and now coming up to 30 laps on his tank. That is 30 laps on his tank. And no there, Christopher, who looks like he wrecked off the track. So that did not bring out the caution. So we did end up staying green, but still a very nice save by 78 of Art Peck. And ended up going down pit road. Oh, we have Noah Lewis on pit road as we speak. Noah Lewis pitting in this time by... Shows him... Yeah, he is pitting in now, having 28 laps on his tires.
Yeah, meanwhile, the 48 of Mark McFadden getting around the 3 of Jeff Dodson, moving up into 3rd position. Jeremy Horn still running in 2nd. Jeff Dodson back into 4th. And Ronald Vincent rounding out your top 5.
Yep, and Ronald Vincent right now trying to make a move against the 3 of Jeff Dodson. Goes to his inside here on the exit of 2, but Dodson slingshot engaged off turn 2 with a high side benefit, and the 37 of Ronald Vincent will be kept behind him for now as we speak. I can't say for too long. I mean, I can't really say exactly how long, because we know that the draft is very strong and things do change here. Lap after lap, or in a matter of seconds. And green flag pit stops kicking in. The previous leader 13 of Charles Smith down pit road this time by with 32 laps on his tires and tank, and that gives the lead over to the 14 of Jeremy Horn.
Well, it looks right about 30 to 32 laps is probably the ideal pit window, so we still got 85 laps remaining, so that means we'll have at least 2 more pit stops, Sean.
Yep, 2 more pit stops do sound about right, and that will bring a lot of different strategies into play, and pit road getting busier by the minute, by the lap. We have Jeff Dodson pitting in, Ronald Vincent pitting in, Steven Leffler just pitted out. So far Ron Vincent and Jeff Dodson down pit road, and the driver we saw go the most on his tires was I believe the previous leader, the 13 of Charles Smith, with 32 laps on his tires, like Dave had talked about. And Jeremy Horn here still staying out, going nice and strong now, coming out to 31 laps on his tires, being shown about 6.7 seconds ahead of his opponent, his biggest victim or opponent, the 48 of Mark McFadden, for second place. Ooh, Jeremy Horn backs it down. Oh man, he slams on the brakes a little too hard. Oh man, that almost got ugly for the 14 of Jeremy Horn, but he is pitting in this time by Mark McFadden in second place. Will accompany him on pit road this time by. Is Paul Cohen staying out? Yes, Paul Cohen stays out, takes over the race lead this time by on lap 43. Actually, he's gonna have to stay on 1 more lap so he can be shown as a new race leader, because looks like Jeremy Horn had already crossed the start-finish line while down pit road before Paul Cohen got around him. Whoop, looks like Cohen as well is backing that sucker down, going down pit road this time by. And this now finally concludes the first round of green flag pit stops. Oh, we have a new viewer in the chat there, John Marine. Good to see you there, John. Good to see you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this would be a good time for us to take our first commercial break of the evening, so you guys can get your first round of popcorn and refreshments. We'll be right back, so stay tuned.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Auto Club 250 for round 2 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series here at Auto Club Speedway. Well, going back here to the race, or first round of green flag pit stops came and went, and now we are still being led by 14 of Jeremy Horn. Yep, Jeremy Horn still in the race lead. Charles Smith second, Robert Barris third, Mark McFadden fourth, and Mark Kochek in the 5th place spot. And at this point, everybody has less than 13 laps on their tires, I should say, tires and tanks. But since Robert Barris was the first driver to pit in, had a very, very short pit, he has over 25 laps on his tires and tank. So Dave, hopefully his strategy pays off.
Yeah, most definitely, as we're counting down these laps, just 75 laps remaining here at Auto Club. Being led by Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith right there within range, 6/10 behind him. In second, Robert Burris. Now, unfortunately, he's over 2 seconds there behind Charles Smith.
Yep, these guys are very, very spread out, but so far 13 of Smith and Jeremy Horn, they are close to each other. It's only they are separated by only 6/10 of a second, and the draft will suck them into each other. And so far, Jeremy Horn is catching up to the 18 of Rick Mason. Rick Mason being shown about 30 seconds behind everybody out there, behind the leaders, who in this case are only 2 seconds behind him as we speak. We're actually less than 1 second behind him. So here before too long, he most likely will be going a lap down. And the good thing about this for Rick Mason is that now he's going to have draft. At this point, he should be back up to speed with the leaders, and hopefully he's going to be able to get back around them before the next round of green flag pit stops kick in. And with that said, Robert Barris should be pitting in before too long here in less than 5 laps, because he has now 29 laps on his tires. And for the back in the pack, 37 of Ronald Vincent here behind the 3 of Jeff Dodson. Only 4/10 of a second separate these two drivers. And Ron Vincent does see the bigger picture. The slingshot will be engaged here shortly. He is trying to set Jeff Dodson up for the pass. And the good way to set him up, Dave, what I've noticed is that these drivers like to pretty much have a good exit to the turns, so therefore they can be as close to their opponent on the straightaway, because on the straightaway is where they can make up a lot of time, and the draft will suck them in, but in the turns, not so much.
Well, let's give the viewers a treat here. We are going to jump on board with the 37 of Robert Vincent. We are going to go cockpit view. We are going to let the viewers at home see the speed these drivers do and how they get around the track here at Auto Club.
And that right there is riding on the in car of the 37 of Ronald Vincent, and he wasn't quite able to make a move against the 3 of Jeff Dodson just yet, but as we speak he's getting very, very close. But once again, slingshot engaged on the outside line with the 3 of Jeff Dodson, and that draft does suck the 37 of Vincent into him. But right now, Vincent still trying to play smart, play it safe, not trying to get to the inside, and Jeff goes down low, goes back up high. Oh man, he's flirting with him. And as we speak, Jeff Dodson still maintains the high sideline, And Jeff Dodson is actually drafting off the 98 of Noah Lewis, so he is getting the benefit of that. And Dave, not sure exactly what happened, but going back up front, Charles Smith is now being shown 2.3 seconds behind the leader, 14 of Jeremy Horn. And last time we checked, they were about only 0.6 of a second behind each other or apart. But now the gap has increased to over 2 seconds, and that is way out of the draft of Jeremy Horn. So Jeremy Horn now this time has a Sunday drive, and as we speak, 37 of Vincent making a move against the 3 of Jeff Dodson, side by side.
Well, Sean, we're actually approaching the halfway point of tonight's race, 66 laps to go. So here in about 3 laps, we'll be reaching the halfway point. But I tell you, I got to give credit where credit is due. Jeremy Horn, he is wicked fast out there tonight. He has the fastest lap time on the track right now, with a 31.786. The next nearest lap time for him is going to be a 31.937. Almost 0.2 of a second faster than everybody else's fastest lap time.
Oh man, absolutely great job to all these drivers. And you have Jeremy Horn was taking advantage the best he could of that draft until we took over that race lead. This race lead here so far, and is now being shown 2.4 seconds and increasing lap after lap against Charles Smith. So Charles here will try his best to make that gap a little bit smaller before the next round of pit stops kick in. Speaking of pit stops, we have Art Peck down pit road this time by, and we missed it. Robert Burris as well did already pit in for a second round of green flag pit stops. And here the 51 of Paul Cohen status check. Paul Cohen being shown about 6 seconds behind his next opponent, the 37 of Ronald Vincent. And Ronald Vincent here gets around the 3 of Jeff Dodson. That just changed. And they are now 6th and 7th, respectively. Ronald Vincent and Jeff Dodson, that is. And Paul Cohen trying to get his lap back the hard way. Trying not to go a lap down here for now. But as we speak, pit stops will kick in before too long. We have Jim Whaley Jr. having 28 laps on his tires and tank this time by. So with that said, Jim Whaley Jr. will be the driver next going down pit road. And yes, Jim Whaley is on pit road as we speak for some service.
Yeah, most definitely, as we are now halfway point, beyond the halfway point of tonight's race. So we are just counting down them laps. I tell you, looking at their lap times though, I mean, they're still running low 32-second lap times. Man, this really makes me want to get out in one of these cars, Sean.
Oh yeah, it's a very good time, I can assure you that much. But absolutely, yeah, these drivers doing an amazing job, and yeah, those lap times not getting any slower. And just pretty much being consistent. And pit road getting busier by the lap. Mark Kochik on pit road. Noah Lewis down pit road this time by. And we now have only 4 drivers left on the lead lap. It's showing. That doesn't sound right. Nope, scratch that. We have 8 drivers on the lead lap. Mark McFadden going down pit road this time by, giving up the 3rd place spot.
Yes, so that's going to move the 72 of Stephen Leffler up into 3rd. After starting in 10th position tonight, up into 3rd he runs, but he's probably about the same pit strategy right now as the 13 of Charles Smith. Jeremy Horn's probably got about 2 lap newer tires.
Yeah, Jeremy Horn actually has 3 lap newer tires compared to Charles Smith. And I'm not sure what's happening, but yeah, Charles Smith is losing a lot of time to Jeremy Horn. Last time we checked on Smith, he was 2.4 seconds behind Horn, but now he's about 3.5 seconds behind Horn. That's very bad to see. I'm sad to see. Oh man, Leffler goes way sideways, gets way loose on the exit of turn number 2. And that's the one thing we forgot to mention, Dave. These things do get very, very loose the lighter they get.
Yeah, most definitely, Sean. You also got to remember there's such a thing in these cars that's called aero push. You got to watch out when you're riding behind somebody. Sometimes that aero push will push you up, and next thing you know, you're into the wall.
Oh man, and that wall has its arms wide open and ready to take you out at any moment. It's all up to the drivers to try and not get claimed by that wall. But going back here in the back of the pack, we have the 18 of Rick Mason. Rick Mason going down pit road this time by. And we have a lot of drivers being shown 1 or more laps down. But once those green flag pit stops cycle out, things will change. We have Steven Leffler down pit road this time by as well. And that now leaves Charles Smith and Jeremy Horn left to pit in, including Jeff Dodson, Paul Cohen. And I believe that's it. Yep, but Charles Smith goes down pit road this time by. But Jeremy Horn still staying out.
Yeah, definitely seeing some good pitch strategy coming on. Different pitch strategy, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, does anybody have anything for the 14 of Jeremy Horn?
Yep, and Jeremy Horn right now catches up to the 98 of Noah Lewis. Actually, Noah Lewis was able to get his lap back the hard way and maintains, still stays 2 laps down this time by, better than being 3 laps down. Actually, the scratch that just changed. He is 3 laps down, so he just went from 4 laps down to 3 laps down. But very, very rough night for Noah Lewis. Very rough beginning, but it's been good ever since he got his brand new machine. But he is still going nice and strong regardless, despite what the bad start that he had here tonight. And as we speak here, the 14 of Jeremy Horn backing it down. Man, Jeremy Horn is really flirting with those brakes, going down pit road, but he finally makes it down pit road successfully. And Gone Fishing TV in the chat. Good to see you there, Gone Fishing. Good to see you again. Welcome back. And yep, there is a series tomorrow as well. And Paul Cohen backing that sucker down, going down pit road this time by Robert Barras. Did already pit in already, but he already has over 15 laps on his tires compared to everybody else. And this finally rounds up, cycles out, I guess rounds up the second round of green flag pit stops. But we should expect to see one more pit stop to come.
Yeah, most definitely now sitting at 55 laps remaining, still being led by the 14 of Jeremy Horn. Robert Burris is closing in on him. Charles Smith sitting there in 3rd. Mark Koshik sitting 4th. And Mark McFadden rounding out your top 5. Actually, McFadden now making a move to the inside of Koshik. He is going to take away the number 4 position.
Dave, interesting fact. With the strategy of the 75 of Robert Barras, he's going to make one more pit stop. Well, he's going to have to make an extra pit stop compared to everybody else. Otherwise, he will be a couple of laps short. And at this point, he has 20 laps on his tank and tires. Actually, way more than everybody else. He actually has about 15 laps more on tires and tank compared to everybody else. So he's going to have to make a 4th pit stop. That is sad to see, and hopefully a caution comes out for the sake of Robert Barras, so he can be able to be in the same strategy as everybody else.
Actually, I mean, we've seen some people go 32 laps. If he does that, he may just be able to, because that's 12 laps away. That would take us to lap 72. Nope, he's not going to be able to make it here. Or, see, we got 52 laps to go. Yeah, I think he might be able to make it on one more pit stop, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, Sean.
Yeah, fingers crossed for Robert Barras. And Barras is now in the 2nd place spot here behind the 14 of Jeremy Horn, who still at this point has a Sunday drive as we speak, being shown 2.2 seconds behind or ahead of the 75 Robert Barras, sorry. And at the same time, Charles Smith, they've lost a lot of time on pit road by the looks of it, because he's now about 5.7 seconds behind Horn.
Yeah, but it's actually closing up, so he's making up a little bit of ground, but I don't know. I don't think anybody's got anything for the 14 of Jeremy Horn, because he is just out there really quick tonight.
Absolutely, a great run for Jeremy Horn. It's a very well set up machine by the crew of the 14 of Jeremy Horn as it gets around the 3 of Jeff Dodson. And Jeff Dodson will try his best to get his lap back the hard way. And yes, Jeff Dodson charging on the outside of the 14 of Jeremy Horn. He is trying to side drift a little bit. Nope, Jeff Dodson goes a little bit high to give the 14 of Jeremy Horn some room. And Jeff Dodson just might fall back in line here to try and set up the 14 of Jeremy Horn before too long. Slingshot will be engaged here shortly.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're now 49 laps to go. We're going to go ahead and step away for our second commercial break of the night. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here at Auto Club with the Dre Broadcasting Network.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them four abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Auto Club 250 for round 2 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series, brought to you by Roaring Thunder Racing League. And for all those who would like to be a part of the action here behind the wheel of one of these IndyCars, they do run IndyCars every Saturday. They go to some road courses, some oval courses. So next week we'll be racing at Barber Motorsports Park. That's going to be a road course. And last week we came from Sebring International, and tonight we're right here at Auto Club Speedway. So if you guys would like to be a part of the action, check them out at Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing, and their website as well is American Trucker, the number 8 at wixsite.com. Wixsite spelling is WIXSITE.com. So American Trucker 8.wixsite.com, or just go to Roaring Thunder, or check them out at Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing. Because last season they came from K&N Series to IndyCar Series this season on Saturdays. Every single Saturday, actually, Saturday after Saturday. So once again, check them out at Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing and American Trucker 8.wixsite.com.
Now, Sean, while we were talking there, we had a little bit of an incident. Noah Lewis got into the outside wall, ended up losing the car, but he kept it down off the track. So we stayed green flag racing as we take a look exactly what happened here on the Dre Broadcasting instant replay. It looks, oh, he touched the apron. The apron's not your very friend here, but he tried everything to save it, but he just could not save it, and it came around on him. Luckily, he kept it down off the track and kept us green flag racing.
Oh man, yeah, that was a save and a half by the 98 of Noah Lewis. He's the 4th victim claimed by the apron, the exact same apron. The exit of turn 2 is where everyone seems to be getting claimed by the apron. But once again, nice save by Noah Lewis, and we still stay green flag racing. And Noah Lewis back up to full speed, not a single scratch on that beast. Very, very nice paint scheme. Exalta paint scheme, very, very well dressed. But going back up front here, we are still being led by the 14 of Jeremy Horn, 2nd place 13 Charles Smith, Mark McFadden 3rd, Mark Kochik 4th, and Steven Leffler in that 5th place spot. And while we were under commercial, we had Robert Barras down pit road 6 laps ago. So Robert Barras once again is going to need to pit in one more time, because even if the drivers pit in as we speak right now, they will not be able to make it the remainder of the way. We have 36 laps left with a fuel window from 28 to 32 laps. And as we speak, Art Peck down pit road, Mark Kochik down pit road, Mark McFadden down pit road, this time by.
Yeah, most definitely here. So we've had a pretty good race here. Let's take a look at our race recap for the night. We've had 2 cautions, 5 lead changes. Jeremy Horn so far leading 52 laps here tonight. Good job by him, as we're now 35 laps to go.
Yep, for the drivers who will be pitting in here in the next 3 laps, they will be able to make it the remainder of the way. But we have some drivers pitting in right now, so maybe the pit window might be a little bit more flexible than we might think. One driver backing it down right now is this 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. pitting in this time by as we speak. And at this point, we're only showing 4 drivers on the lead lap, namely Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith, Steven Leffler, including Mark McFadden on the lead lap. Well, scratch that, only 3 drivers on the lead lap. But once again, once those pit stops cycle through, most drivers will be back to the returning positions, or to the previous positions.
Yeah, most definitely. But Jeremy Horn, I tell you, he is already out to a 6.8 second lead, and we're under caution.
Oh man, under caution this time, but we'll back it up and see who might have been involved.
Oh man, it's going to be the 98 of Noah Lewis, as we are going to take a look here, see exactly what happened to Lewis. As I pulled the Dre Broadcasting replay, looks like coming through turns 3 and 4. Don't know if he was trying to go down on pit road, but it looked like it just shot him to the inside. Unfortunately, he got spun around right at the entrance of pit road. That is going to bring out our 3rd caution of the night.
Oh man, yep, the back end of Lewis just snapped around, man. He just got loose. Just pretty much, I believe it goes back to what we talked about before. The less gas these things have, basically the lighter they get, it does make them become very, very loose, and that's exactly what happened to the 98 of Noah Lewis. But no harm to Noah Lewis. Nice save by Lewis yet again, and he is back out on the track with not a single scratch on that beast, by brand new tires to help him with that. And this caution might have been a good thing for some, but not so much for others, because it caught some drivers while they were down on pit road. But up front, the leaders going down pit road. Jeremy Horn leads them down pit road. Charles Smith follows, including Ronald Vincent. But everybody seems to be staying out. Well, everybody's being shown one or more laps down. So pit window, the pits do not open yet for them until next lap. So far we have Jeff Dotson, Robert Barris, Paul Cohen, Mark McFadden, and Rick Mason. These guys needing to go down pit road one more time. And the good thing about this caution is that everybody who pits in this time by under this caution will be able to make it the rest of the way, because at this point we do have 32 laps remaining. Absolutely, John. Absolutely. And if we do not go 1 to green this time by, that will give us a chance to get a race interview in under caution. So fingers crossed.
Well, Sean, as the pace car crosses the start-finish line, lights go off. We are going back. Green flag racing here at Auto Club, being led by the 14 of Jeremy Horn.
Yep, and since the lights on the pace car do turn off, that means no interview under this caution, unfortunately. But we'll talk to some of the drivers here before the race ends, hopefully. And we have Mark McFadden, Mark Kochik, including Robert Barras, and also Jeff Dotson getting the wave around the pace car, including Art Peck as well. They are now 1 lap less than they were last time by. So that's very, very good to see for these drivers. But we are still being led by 14 Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith 2nd, Stephen Leffler 3rd, Jeff Dotson 4th, and Robert Barras in that 5th place spot. Absolutely. And John Marine, it's great to have you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, buddy. Thank you. And for all those new viewers, once again, welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. Welcome. And for all those returning viewers or existing viewers, welcome back to the Dre Broadcasting Network. And we hope you guys are having an amazing show by the Roaring Thunder Racing League here at Auto Club Speedway for the Auto Club 250 Round 2. And the pace car does dip off the Ferrari paint scheme. The Ferrari driver, Jeremy Horn, still holding pace speed. The green flag flies. Horn does not hesitate. He puts it on the floorboard. And Dave, at this point, the drivers, Charles Smith, Stephen Leffler, Jeff Dotson, Robert Barras, these drivers are trying their best to already catch up to Jeremy Horn, because they're trying to make sure that he does not pull away like he did last 2 times.
Yeah, Charles Smith tried to get him on the outside, just not able to. He is going to need some draft. It looks like they're side by side. They are coming into turn number 3.
Yep, the inside line is the place to be here with these Indy cars. they are way different compared to the NASCARs and the 13 of Charles Smith, still side by side with him on the outside line. But the outside is not the place to be in the turns. So as we speak here, Charles Smith always backs it down, backs the inside line to try and be behind Jeremy Horn to get the draft and get the slingshot, try and get the slingshot past Jeremy Horn, but still side by side as we speak. And the more these guys battle, the more 72 of Steven Leffler, Robert Barras catch up to them.
Yeah, right now only 6 of the Indy cars here left on the lead lap. We're under caution again.
Oh, that involved the 3 of Jeff Dodson, got a piece of the action. Let's back it up on Jeff Dodson and see what happened.
Well, as we pull up the Dre Broadcasting instant replay here, taking a look at the 3 of Jeff Dodson. He is running side by side. Looks like a slower car up in front of him. Was not able to check up and just rear-ended right into the back of him. That is bringing out our 4th caution here tonight.
Absolutely, very unfortunate indeed for Jeff Dodson, including the 37 of Ronald Vincent, who got a piece of the action as well. Yeah, it looks like Ronald Vincent was trying to go down pit road, and the 3 of Dodson did not see that coming and made contact. But hopefully Jeff Dodson still has his only backup car tonight, so he can be able to get that thing out and be back out here to do some more damage in terms of competition against his opponents. But going back up front, Jeremy Horn leading everybody down pit road this time by Mark McFadden and Jeff Dodson staying out.
Actually, Sean, Jeff Dodson's making his way down on pit road, so the only one staying out on the lead pack right now is going to be the 48 of Mark McFadden.
Oh yeah, and Mark McFadden has some traffic in front of him. That's going to be Jim Whaley Jr., including the 78 of Art Peck. And speaking of Art Peck, let's actually get a word in with him. So so stay tuned here as we get an interview with Art Peck. Oh, we just got some intel that Art Peck unfortunately has lost his voice. He is under the weather. So get well soon, Art Peck, and hopefully we'll get an interview in with you next race. Hopefully, when you're feeling better. Well, if we don't go back 1 to green this time by, that will give us some time to get an interview with somebody else. So fingers crossed. Oh, the lights on the pace car do turn off, and Art Peck gets the wave around the pace car with the 46. Oh no, 46 of Whaley Jr. going down pit road. So Art Peck alone gets the wave around the pace car back on the lead lap on lap number 99. But going back up front here, Mark McFadden, actually lap 100. Mark McFadden leading, Jeremy Horn second. We have Charles Smith third, Steven Leffler fourth, and Robert Barras in the 5th place spot. It's going to give us a 25 lap shootout. That's 25 lap shootout for the checkered flag.
Yes, it's going to be interesting as the pace car now coming out of turn 2, as you said, being led by Mark McFadden, Jeremy Horn second, Charles Smith third, Steven Leffler sitting in 4th, Robert Barras rounding out your top 5. We are still 6 cars on the lead lap.
Yep, so Mark Kochik, Paul Cohen, Ronald Vincent will be racing for the not for Lucky Dog, sorry. Not Lucky Dog here with the IndyCar Series, but they will be racing for position because they are all being shown 1 lap down, and that position they'll be racing for is the position number 7. And so far, Mark Kochik is hanging on to it. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, hang on to your seats Hang on to your popcorn. Make sure you have enough popcorn and refreshments to last you the end of tonight's race, because it will be a wild one and a lot more battles than before, as the pace car did dip off and the green flag flies. Mark McFadden puts it on the floorboard, and right behind him here the 14 of Jeremy Horn, who is being challenged by the 13 of Charles Smith, and in between them is the 33 of Mark Kochik. 98 Noah Lewis here in this mix as well, goes high to let everybody by the looks of it, and they will go to his inside as soon as they catch up to him. But looks like behind him the 14 Jeremy Horn is being challenged by the 75 of Barras, and Barras doing the defensive line to try and keep the 3 of Jeff Dawson behind him. Jeff still battling him.
Yeah, Jeremy Horn just got around Charles Smith. He's bringing Robert Burris with him. Question is, while they are battling, Mark McFadden's now out to 7/10 of a second lead. So the more they battle, the more Mark McFadden's going to hand out. Now, here's the thing. Mark McFadden, he's got 12 laps on his tires. The most we've seen anybody run was 32 under green flag. We did have some caution laps in there. Does Mark McFadden have enough to go the remainder of the race?
Ooh, that's a very, very good point. With that said, Mark McFadden is most likely hoping for another quick caution, so he can be able to go back down pit road to be on the safe side, just so he can be certain that he will be able to make it the remainder of the race. Oh man, Barras taps the apron off turn 2, almost loses it, but was somehow able to hang on to that machine. But Charles Smith in front of him is battling side by side with the 14 of Jeremy Horn. They are still side by side for second place. Charles Smith on the outside line, Horn on the inside line. Horn, the defending champion, trying to maintain his title, trying to keep that belt to himself, trying to keep his biggest opponent, 75 Robert Barras, behind him as much as he can, because even last season Robert Barras was Jeremy Horn's biggest opponent. And so far Jeremy Horn is trying his best to make sure that Barras is not the biggest opponent this season, just so he can be able to have a Sunday drive or a smooth sail throughout the whole entire season. And for the back in the pack, we have the 51 of Paul Cohen. Paul Cohen is still having a Sunday drive behind the 3 of Jeff Dodson, and Paul Cohen is the first driver being shown 1 lap down, and Art Peck behind him. I thought Art Peck was able to get his lap back as he got the way around the pace car, but looks like he actually went from 2 laps down to 1 lap down. But yeah, Paul Cohen is still holding that, but Art Peck not too far behind him. So Paul will keep his foot down the floor and try and draft from Jeff Dodson to try and maintain the 7th place spot.
Well, Sean, to be honest though, I don't think from 2nd place back to 6th place, they've only got 6 or 7 laps on their tires. I think if we get another caution though, they're not going to pit. The only one that we're worried right now is the 48 of Mark McFadden, who is up front, only leading by 6/10. So Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith, even though they're battling, they are making up some ground on our race leader, the 48 of Mark McFadden.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dave, you know, I should admit, with the way we've seen these machines act, while low on fuel, basically when they become very, very light, when they have less gas in them, they do become very loose. So Dave, with that said, it's only a matter of time before Mark McFadden starts feeling the effects of that. And as we speak here, the 98 of Noah Lewis on the inside, on 51 of Paul Cohen, but he goes down to the apron, got a little bit loose, hangs onto that machine. And man, Noah Lewis has been having some bad luck with that loose machine of his, that Exalta painted machine, but still staying green, still keeping his foot down the floorboard, still doing over 210 miles per hour, and trying to draft off the 78 of Art Peck, but going back up front, Charles Smith, who's still battling side by side with Jeremy Horn as we speak.
Yeah, now it's taking effect here, because now they have dropped back to a 2nd behind the race leader of Mark McFadden. So these two battling out as Charles Smith is just not letting the 14 of Jeremy Horn go, but he's just not able to complete that pass.
Yep, and Smith does lead a slight nose entering turn 3 against Jeremy Horn, but Jeremy Horn will get him back, using the inside line off turn number 4, and Smith has no choice but to fall back in line to avoid losing speed, momentum, and even more time to the 75 of Robert Barris, but he gets a good slingshot off the back bumper of Jeremy Horn and stays side by side with him once again. Oh, he gets the benefit of the outside slingshot. Yes, slingshot engaged. He makes the pass successfully against the 14 of Jeremy Horn. That was textbook right there, Dave. Textbook.
Yeah, but I don't think Jeremy Horn's done. He's been real fast right now, but now Jeremy Horn's got to be careful because the 75 of Robert Burris is right behind him. Also, Steven Leffler is right there as well, as they are trying to track down the race leader 48 Mark McFadden. We are now down to 15 laps to go, Sean.
Yep, down to 15 laps. Charles Smith only 1 second behind Mark McFadden, and so far Charles Smith is trying to do the draft break. He's trying to break the draft, trying to go down to the inside to make sure Horn does not benefit from his draft. Well, that does not seem to be working too well. And at this point, since Smith is only 1 second behind Mark McFadden, he is in the draft. The draft is not at its strongest, but he is still getting a little bit of draft from Mark McFadden. With that said, he should be able to catch up to him here, slowly but surely, before too long. And as we see right now, Jeremy Horn, Dave, has backed it down. So it looks like they are now working together finally to catch Mark McFadden.
Now they got to do something. Mark McFadden, 0.8 of a second lead. As we are coming down into the closing laps, 14 laps to go now here at Auto Club for the Auto Club 250 in the Roarin Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series.
And here for the back in this pack, the 3 Jeff Dodson in his 5th place spot still, and behind him is 72 of Steven Leffler, very, very close to him, and Leffler is in his draft, only 0.3 apart, and then before too long, Leffler will be all over the back bumper, all over the rear view of the 3 of Jeff Dodson for position number 5, because right now Leffler is in the 6th place spot, and Paul Cohen still maintaining 7th place, Art Peck 8th, we have Mark Kochik 9th, Jim Whaley Jr. 10th, Rick Mason 11th, Ronald Vincent 12th, and Noah Lewis in the 12th place spot once again. Actually, Noah Lewis is in the 13th place spot, and down pit road as we speak. Yep, Noah Lewis has been on pit road for over 2 minutes now, so it looks like he might be down for the night.
Yeah, meanwhile, looking at our leaders, Charles Smith now down to only 0.5 behind Mark McFadden. Jeremy Horn, 0.5 behind him. We're getting it spread out a little bit, but Charles Smith is making a charge here as he's trying to go as we are 11 laps remaining.
Yep, 11 laps to go. I'm not sure what happened to Jeremy Horn against that Charles Smith. Yep, that gap did increase, but not to worry. Jeremy Horn is still in the draft of Charles Smith, and Charles Smith in turn is in the draft of Mark McFadden still. So it pretty much is a chain effect here, all the way from Mark McFadden back to the 14 of Jeremy Horn in 3rd place, and so far 75 Robert Barris is being shown 2.1 seconds behind Jeremy Horn and is out of the draft range. I just get a little bit of draft, 1.1 seconds, that is in draft range. But once again, at that point, the draft is not very strong. It is on the weak side. So Robert Barris is just trying to have the Q line, trying to have a smooth exit to try and, you know, maintain the most speed. Because once again, less wheel input, which means less friction and more speed maintained. Oh man, up front 48 of Mark McFadden having the exact same strategy as the 13 of Charles Smith, trying to break that draft, and McFadden now knows he's starting to see the speck of Smith in his rearview mirror getting nothing but bigger, and that has encouraged him to defend his lead, because he now has 8 laps left. He has 29 laps on his tires. So if the pit window was right, 32 laps being the most laps they can go on their tanks, that means here in the next 4 laps, Mark McFadden will be sputtering.
Also got to remember though, we did have 2 cautions in there as well, Sean.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. And that's the case, he most likely might have saved maybe 1.5 to 2 laps of gas. But yep, fingers crossed here for Mark McFadden. We're gonna see exactly how this plays out. And Dave, the gap in between Mark McFadden and Charles Smith has increased to now 0.8 of a second. And last time we checked, it was 0.4 of a second. So it has doubled. Yep, 6 laps remaining this time. By 6 laps remaining, it has been go time. And Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith have now found each other once again. Now still battling side by side as we speak. 13 of Charles Smith on the outside, Jeremy Horn on the inside. Nose side by side, still drag racing on the back straightaway.
Yeah, these guys battling now. Look, Mark McFadden is now pulled out to a 1.1 second gap here, as we are now 5 laps to go. But the question is, does Mark McFadden have enough for fuel to be able to make it? And, oh, big wreck! Caution flag is out. That is going to be between Jeremy Horn and Charles Smith, as we're going to try to catch that on instant replay. As we see these two guys battling out here on the replay. Jeremy Horn makes a move to the inside. Charles Smith contact. They both go around. Actually, yep, Jeremy Horn's going to get it sideways and spin back around. Oh, man, that is a heartbreaker, as those two have been battling all night. But that is going to bring out our 5th caution. I think this caution is going to help the 48 of Mark McFadden, because we know he was low on fuel.
And Dave, if this were NASCAR, if this was the Camping World trucks, Xfinity cars, or the Cup cars, this race would have ended under caution. But luckily for us, we have one less pace lap, one less lap of pacing. So with that said, we will have 1 lap shootout here. So it's gonna make things extra interesting. But yep, game changer for the 48 of Mark McFadden and the rest of the field here in the top 5. It's now gonna bunch everybody back up again. As we see Mark McFadden now riding the apron, trying to save some gas. The apron is the shortest way around the track. So Mark McFadden first, Robert Barris second, Jeff Dotson third, Steven Leffler fourth, and Jeremy Horn in the 5th place spot. But nope, Mark McFadden going down pit road this time by for some service. Well, Dave, I guess Mark McFadden was not going to be able to make it.
No, and that's going to hand the race lead over to the 75 of Robert Burris. Jeff Dotson's going to be sitting in 2nd. Steven Leffler sitting in 3rd. As those 3 are going to stay out, everyone else on the lead lap came down on pit road.
Yeah, but Robert Barris very happy to get that lead back. He did qualify on the pole. He did have a 2nd place practice time, and is now back up to where he was before, his rightful place here in this case. But Jeff Dotson, Steven Leffler, Mark McFadden, Jeremy Horn will be all over him. But it's going to be a green, white, checkered. So fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen. We saw a lot of battles early on, and this is going to get nothing but more intense as soon as that green flag flies for the final time. So let's get it done.
Well, Sean, in order for us to have the green-white, we are going to have the pace car lights go off this time by. If not, I do believe this race is going to end under yellow.
Yeah, fingers crossed in that case. We will keep an eye on that pace car to see exactly what happens. And unfortunately, we have lost one driver, 18 of Rick Mason. But we look forward to having this driver back next week for the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix at Barber Motorsports Park. That's Barber Motorsports Park road course.
Well, pace car coming to the start finish line. We're going to keep an eye on it. See if those lights come off. Are we going to get a 1-lap shootout? Yes, the lights are going out. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a 1-lap shootout here for the checkered, being led by Jeff Burris. Robert Burst. Jeff Dodson in second. Steven Leffler sitting in third. Mark McFadden fourth. Charles Smith rounding out your top 5 right now. Ooh, what a finish. A one-lap shootout for the checkered flag.
One lap for the checkered flag, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on to your seats. And just like Christopher Potter said in the chat, fasten your seatbelts. Yes, hang on to them. And put your popcorn in a place where you're not going to make a mess, or your refreshments either. So let's get it done. At this point, the gloves are off. Every man for himself. The draft might be against Robert Barris. And Robert Barris will be trying to be on his A game, because these drivers do have to go on the green flag. And Jeff Dodson, Steven Leffler, Mark McFadden, we have Charles Smith, Jeremy Horn, 6 drivers being shown here on the lead lap, trying to get bunched up to avoid getting caught sleeping. So fingers crossed, going green for the final time, this time by. Exiting turn 4 this time by. The pace car leaves the racing surface. Robert Barris holds pace speed still. Jeff Dodson trying to close in. Slowly but surely the green flag flies. Barris puts on the floorboard. He does catch them off guard. Gets a better start than everybody else. Jeff Dodson will try his best to play catch up here before too long. Steven Leffler already in the back bumper of Jeff Dodson for second place, but then backs it down to get back in line. Oh man, 43 Mark McFadden had to back it down to avoid getting in the back of the 72 of Steven Leffler. Still single foul on the back straightaway.
As these machines are getting up, here comes Jeff Dodson. He is making a run here. Robert Burst. Is he going to be able to get around him as they come through turns 3 and 4? We got a spinner. That's going to be Steven Leffler. As they are coming to the checkered flag, it is going to be Robert Burst, Jeff Dodson, Jeremy Horn, your top 3 here tonight. No, Charles Smith is going to take the 3rd position away. He is going to come out in 3rd. So it's going to be Robert Burst, Jeff Dodson, and Charles Smith.
Oh man, what a wild finish. Very amazing finish. And a great race. And this gives Robert Barris his 2nd win of the season. Won last week at Sebring International, and wins tonight right here at AutoClub Speedway for the AutoClub 250. Very unfortunate indeed for the drivers involved on the last wreck there during the white flag. We're gonna see hopefully a smoke show from the 75 of Robert Barris. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be interviewing the top 3 drivers: Robert Barris, Jeff Dodson, and Charles Smith. So stay tuned. Well, we are being joined up in the Dre Broadcasting booth by our top 3 drivers: Robert Barris having his 2nd win, Jeff Dodson and Charles Smith 1, 2, 3 respectively. We are gonna start with tonight's race winner, Robert Barris. You got a cup there, Robert?
I got you.
How you doing tonight?
I'm out of breath trying to catch it after that last restart.
Oh
what
man,
a finish.
Yeah, I can only imagine, brother. And you started in the 1st place spot. You did qualify on the pole, had a 2nd place qualifying practice time, and ended up bringing this thing home. But tell us about your experience with the apron there that one time.
Yeah, I had a specific pitch strategy I was going to go with, and it kind of, in the long run, backfired. And it involved me. Hold on here. It involved me staying out, and I hadn't really tried to restart in clean air on older tires. And I don't know if there's a bump or something in turn 2. At that point, it was just a matter of holding on and trying to just keep the thing intact. And I did, and then I just kind of had to ride around and and hoped the cautions fell and I could cycle back through, and I was able to. But yeah, that turn 2 on old tires that's a handful.
Oh, absolutely. And Robert, we are glad that your race ended up working out despite you not really looking too good at that one point. And speaking of the pit stop, your very, very different pit strategy you had going on. How do you feel that pit stop, that would have affected you if the caution had not come out?
Oh, I would have probably been 7th, maybe 8th. The cars in race trim seemed to get a little bit better gas mileage than I was expecting, and that translated to a lap or 2 extra on the track, and that was enough to kind of make the difference. Having stayed out and then pitted and got off cycle, a couple of guys I think were able to take advantage of that in those first 2 cautions and kind of get themselves set up to run it basically from the end of the race up. And so I was going to have to make another stop than they were. Just like I said, they were, fuel mileage was a little bit better than I anticipated it would be in race trim. I don't have a lot of experience here in these cars, so I don't have any data really to go back on and look at like I do in the stock cars. It just kind of circumstances and luck played out to make up for it, though.
Oh, absolutely, brother. And that's the most important thing right there, was you not giving up and seeing the bigger picture, and things basically fell in the right place, and you got your second win right here at AutoClub Speedway. So winning last week at Sebring for round 1, winning round 2 here at AutoClub, and next week, Robert, we are transferring to another road course. Well, road course, when I say another road course, I'm talking about Sebring and then Barber Motorsports Park. So with that said, what should we expect to see from you at Barber?
Oh, I don't know. Your guess is going to be as good as mine. Most of my sim racing experience over the 20+ years that I've been doing it has been stock cars. I don't have a lot of experience in these Indy cars outside of the Indianapolis 500. I don't have, I'm halfway decent on the road courses in the stock cars, but these Indy cars are a completely different animal with, they get a lot bigger tires, a lot less weight, better aero. So they're a completely different thing to drive. So we'll just have to see how it turns out. I kind of told these guys after the K&N season and the success I had there that I would keep going here and see how things played out in this IndyCar, because like I said, I didn't have a lot of experience with it. And so we're going off 2 for 2, and maybe we can make it 3 for 3 next week.
Oh, 10-4, brother. Sounds like a plan. You did make it work last week at Sebring. You made it work here tonight, and you most definitely will be able to make it work next week at Barber Motorsports Park. And buddy, before I let you go, any final words?
No, just thanks for putting this all out for everybody to watch, and everybody who came out to drive with us, and everybody who tuned in to watch.
Well, congrats on your success here 2 weeks in a row, and we look forward to seeing this happen 3 weeks in a row next week at Barber Motorsports Park. Have a good night, buddy. Go celebrate.
You too. Bye.
And that was 75 of Robert Barris' second win for him this season. And next in line is the 3 of Jeff Dotson. Get a cup there, Jeff?
I sure do.
How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. How you doing?
Oh, doing good too, thank you. Well, Jeff, tonight you had your hands full out there. Unfortunately, last week you were not able to make it, but tonight you were here in the flesh at AutoClub Speedway. You did seem to have kept a low profile there in the beginning, but then ended up pouncing when it really mattered the most. But tell us about your race. Tell us about your experience.
Yeah, it was a weird one at that, I tell you. Just starting the race out there around 8th, 7th position there, toward the back. Just really wasn't, sure what was going to go down. Had a few things I had to do and didn't get any practice in at all. I just went straight into qualifying and figured, well, just do the best I can. And yeah, I just want to say sorry to Jim Whaley there. I got into him tonight and caused him a mess, and then with Ron Vincent, and I caused a mess there as well. But other than that, I wasn't expecting to get a top 3 finish here tonight, and second, and be racing up there with Robert. It's just kind of caught me off guard that that happened. The way the cautions fell at the end there, and the position that I was in to go for that. But Robert's just a whole other class, and I mean he drove me good, and I tried to get around him, but made the mistake going into 3. Didn't know where he was going to dive in at, and we were trying to make it to where we wasn't going to have an incident, and I kind of just made a mistake and wasn't able to catch him, and so other than that, though, it was a pretty good race.
Oh, absolutely, brother, and yeah, very, very well performed. Great performance on your part and your machine tonight, staying alive, and you just like you talked about, having no practice whatsoever, jumping straight into qualifying and doing an amazing job, finishing in the 2nd place spot on the podium. I'll take that any day. And Jeff, I know you've come from a K&N series last season to back into the Indy cars. How's the transition so far? How does it feel going from a car that you feel a lot safer and then going to a machine that you basically cannot really rub too much because you end up wrecking?
Well, that's a good question. But for me, I'm I guess you could say a racing connoisseur. I like to run anything that has a motor and 4 wheels. So if it's GT cars, Indy cars, stock cars, I like to run them. But they all have their different characteristics and the way they handle, and from different simulations to video games to iRacing, I've been finding it kind of hard to get a grip on the stock cars. Although I like to do it, but just really can't seem to put a grip on it. But these Indy cars, had a fantastic season with them when we ran them the very first season of the league. Finished top 4, top 5 in points. And I know these cars pretty well, and to me it fits my driving characteristics. I just love the way these cars hook up, the grip they have, and the way they drive. Just getting around the aero push is one thing, but if you can master that and manage to get around the aero push, you'll have a pretty good race every time. And the road courses this season will be a game changer for me, since the first time I ran the Indy cars it was all oval series. But road courses really aren't my forte, but we'll see, make the best of things and see what we can accomplish here in this season, and just go from there. I mean, this being only my 2nd podium finish ever since we started the series, I'll take it, and hopefully more will come in this IndyCar season, and we'll go from there.
Well, congrats on your success right here, Jeff, and that is the spirit right there. See exactly how things play out, bringing your A game every single week, week after week. And like you talked about there, you're gonna have a better grip with these machines than you did have with the stock cars, like you pointed out. And next week, going to Barber Motorsports Park. What do you think you have to do, since you talked about how road courses are not really your thing as much as the oval courses? With that said, how do you feel? I mean, what do you think you have to do to prepare for next week to be successful?
Well, just get a lot of practice, and sometimes that don't even help me. But just get a lot of practice as best as I can. Try to learn the track. I don't know Barber that well. I mean, I kind of know it a little bit from watching the real life IndyCar series run there on TV, but track time on iRacing's very slim for me on that track in any car, so it's going to be some work. That's going to be a track that I'm not looking to finish too well on, but as I said, we'll go out and give it our best.
10-4, brother, and that is all you can do. And a very, very successful night on your part tonight. Once again, congratulations. And before I let you go, Jeff, any final words before I let you go?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody that comes out and becomes a part of Roarin Thunder Racing League here. I just want to thank everybody that races with us, and hopefully they have a good time each night they come out and race. And thank the sponsors, for helping out with the league and stuff like that, and you guys for broadcasting the races.
Well, Jeff, congrats on your success here tonight, and we look forward to seeing more of you and seeing you hopefully a spot higher next week at Barber. Have a good night, buddy, and go celebrate.
All right, thank you.
And that was the 3 of Jeff Dotson in the 2nd place spot here tonight. But next in line is the 13 of Charles Smith, a very, very big, heavy hitter here tonight as well at AutoClub Speedway. Finished 4th last week and finishing 1 spot higher this week in the podium. You got a copy there, Charles? You got a copy?
Sure do.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Well, Charles, it was a heck of a show on your part, man. Racing that green alien, that green beast, very, very hard tonight against the biggest opponent, who seems to be your biggest opponent tonight. That 14 of Jeremy Horn. Very, very amazing performance on your part. But tell us about your race tonight. Tell us about your experience.
Oh, I'm just glad to be here. I was at my cousin's wedding and just barely made it in on time, but it was a pretty good race, you know. I love these cars, you know. Obviously, the aerial push sucks. You just got to find a way to get around it. And I think I did a pretty good job of getting around it, but I had a lot of trouble. It wasn't like when I was real close to a car. It was when a car was a few car lengths ahead of me. It just I couldn't do nothing.
Oh, copy that. Yeah, we saw the aero push there taking a toll on some drivers, but yeah, you seem to be managing it pretty well, and you seem to be actually also the only driver who could make a pass on the outside successfully. Tell us about the experience on the outside line with the IndyCar.
Oh, I like passing on the outside way better, because if you try to pass on the inside, you're going to get aero push. You know, outside line, you can use your momentum and get around there without ever lifting off.
Oh, absolutely, most definitely. That does make a lot of sense, and great strategy on your part once again. And tell us about your experience with the green flag pit stops tonight, because it seemed as though some drivers preferred to run it dry and some preferred to just pretty much pit in with the pack.
Well, yeah, definitely. Green flag pit stops are my weakness. I can never get them right. Plus, I didn't have any practice, so I did not have any clue, you know, to hit my marks coming into pits. So that messed me up a lot. But I didn't really want to push it on the fuel, so I just, when it said I had 2 laps left, I pitted.
Oh, 10-4. And yeah, we noticed also when the fuel was going to, pretty much you were coming to your end of your fuel run, we noticed how loose these machines got, but you guys were able to pretty much save them, just keep them out of trouble. I mean, keep them in check for the most part. And you two, next week, buddy, we are heading to Barber Motorsports Park. How do you feel about that track?
Oh, like it's a really good flowing track. It's a really good racetrack, I believe.
Yeah, how do you feel about your performance there? Do you expect yourself?
I've never really actually ran a race there, so I don't know. It's a mystery.
Oh, copy that, brother. Well, you're gonna do your best as usual. We have that hope, and we look forward to seeing you 2 spots higher at Barber Motorsports Park. Well, Charles, any final words before we let you go?
I just want to thank everybody for showing up, and thanks Jeff for putting it on. You know, me and him, we try our best to do it, and make it so everybody has good, fun time. And so I want to thank everybody for showing up, and I want to thank you guys for broadcasting.
Well, Charles, congratulations on your success here tonight, going from 4th place last week to 3rd place this week and 1st place next week. So, buddy, congrats once again, and we look forward to see you again next week.
All right, see you.
And that was the 13 of Charles Smith in the 3rd place spot. And that rounds up interviews. Robert Barras, Jeff Dodson, and Charles Smith, 1st through 3rd, respectively. Well, that was the Auto Club 250 here with the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series. I want to thank them for having the Dre Broadcasting on board their action train here. It has been a pleasure, and we have a lot more races to come. And we're going to get to know these drivers even more, even more. Well, Dave, any thoughts?
Well, Sean, it was a great race. I'm excited for the excited here to finish this season out. I tell you, it was a challenge coming on, but these drivers are doing a heck of a job. I can't wait to continue it out.
Absolutely, brother. Next week, moving on, I should say traveling to Barber Motorsports Park for the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix. That's the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix at Barber Motorsports Park. Even I have never ran a single lap there, so it's going to be a learning curve for me as well. But I am up for the challenge. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, we would like to thank every single one of you for making the Dre Broadcasting Network what it is today, because without you guys we are nothing. We can never thank you guys enough. We just recently crossed the 450 subscriber mark. That is 450 subscriber mark. Also want to thank every single one of you for making that possible as well, and thank you for tuning in tonight for the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series, the Auto Club 250 round number 2. Well, the next broadcast will be tomorrow night, Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series at Pocono Raceway. That's the B cars at Pocono Raceway. So thank you once again for tuning in tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good rest of the night. Have a good rest of the evening. We look forward to seeing you next broadcast. Have a good night.